Chapter 12. Flesh over future. When you feed your flesh, you starve your future. Frank felt like he had finally become the man he was supposed to be. But one thing was still missing in his life: a wife. He met two women around the same time and found himself wavering between who he wanted to pursue. One of these beautiful ladies was established and spent most of her time working and investing in her future. The other lady was drop-dead gorgeous and spent most of her time fueling the flame of life that was socially exciting. Frank never gave himself permission to have a social life because he grew up with tunnel vision. Putting food on the table for his family was the only image that gave him life on a daily basis. Since he never had the opportunity to adopt an exciting social life, he thought this was what he had been missing in his own world. He chose his Cinderella based solely on who could give him the missing puzzle piece that was socially exciting. This flame was controlled by a woman named Desiree. His relationship with Desiree was beyond the boundaries of excitement. He felt like he was exploring a whole new world filled with everything he'd missed growing up, but amplified on a whole new level. They were attracted to every party like a moth to a flame, dove headfirst into every alcoholic beverage poured before them, and Desiree mastered the art of bringing Frank's wildest fantasies into reality. Frank and Desiree spent so many nights on the town that their nightlife became brighter than the morning sun. There are consequences to an unconditional love, and he never understood the knowledge of what love really meant. Since excitement was the only flame being fueled in their relationship, these consequences started haunting Frank like ghosts in the shade of his shadow. He disappeared into the nightlife and almost lost sight of who he originally set himself out to be. He explored the uncharted territories of his excitement with Desiree as his tour guide every step of the way. He had an accelerated plunge to rock bottom because he fell in love too fast. He was attracted to what fed his flesh and physically made him feel good. He thought he filled the gap in his upbringing with the correct person. He soon realized that there were missing puzzle pieces scattered across the board of his life, and he had accidentally stepped where pieces had not been placed. Desiree and Frank were good-hearted people. However, they lacked the characteristics of knowledge, maturity, and stability that were the heartbeat to a lifelong relationship. After getting their first apartment together, they mentally adopted an expectation for a future they never stopped to feed. Their social life was always present in the moment and happy to be alive. However, the longevity of their relationship had already starved to death. Their previous lifestyle created a black hole in their bank account. They didn't notice at first because it was camouflaged with the nightlife. Their relationship was dysfunctional, and when things became tough financially, Desiree threatened that she would leave Frank. Desiree pacified the weakness within him that came from being a fatherless child. When you are at your most vulnerable, you attract things that make you feel better but aren't necessarily what's best for you. Desiree represented a weakness within Frank, something that existed before they even met each other. He had to find the heartbeat of Desiree's existence within himself so he could remove the flame which she was attracted to. Just when he thought there wasn't room for any more struggles in his life, there was a tiny feather that broke the camel's back: a positive pregnancy test. Frank and Desiree were expecting a child. Frank felt important when he first found out, but also scared. Once again, he lacked the roadmap of what something else meant in his life. It was another responsibility that he didn't have an identification for. He feared that he would approach it the wrong way because he didn't know how to develop a strong relationship with a female. Working, paying bills, and bringing food home was all he knew. He found himself incarcerated in a self-made conundrum. He didn't know how to handle the struggles he'd absorbed into the orbit of his life.
Do you have a Desiree? They're not necessarily a bad person, but they navigate with a broken compass.